Stage 2, The Meeting. A few blocks away from Princess Ginger's residence, there lived a baker. He was the unconventional millennial of his family, so he decided to open a bakery in the countryside to get away from them. Living alone in his apartment and focusing on his bakery was his life, and he was content. He found joy in the art of crafting bread, loaves, and even THC-infused edibles for select customers. His creations were extraordinary and seemed like a special gift. It was nothing short of a gift that God only bestowed on his favorites. For instance, he believed that Usain Bolt was a living legend, and his last name was not just a coincidence, but a manifestation of greatness. Despite his connection to the physical world through his bakery, he preferred a quiet life. Callum was an avid reader who immersed himself in the metaphysical world, exploring the connections between the physical and spiritual through meditation. He held the belief in impermanence. Therefore, he lived in a way that made him truly happy in the universe. Callum's happiness was each puff of his joint at the back of his shop, then preparing to engage himself in creating savory experiences that brought him customers from cities near and far. When he was home, he would trade forex and read every single book he could find on cannabis, especially learning about its properties and how to incorporate it into his creations. Something was missing in his life though, and he knew it. He felt a void. The dating pool was shitty and he really could not be bothered anymore, so he gave up on dating sites. Then there was the issue of society. People don't interact with anyone anymore. Everyone was on their phone seeking validation from thousands of friends they didn't even have in real life. What a sad world, he thought to himself. Dreams do come true sometimes, and in this case, it did. On Sunday evenings, when he got home, his routine was suddenly interrupted by a strange girl, whom he would watch walk towards the willow tree across from his home. He would eat his dinner and watch her. Callum was fascinated. His attentive gaze recorded her on the ground, smoking what seemed to be a joint, and then her hands would move as if she were listening to music. Then she would stop and lay there still for a long time, gazing at the stars, he presumed. After a while, she left, and his show ended. Months passed, and Callum grew increasingly excited for Sundays. He was impressed by the singularity she displayed. She was always alone, and he had never seen her by chance in town. But how could he? He basically lived in his shop. There were days when he was tempted to casually walk by and strike up a conversation. But that was not him, he could not engage in small talk. Despite this, today he wanted to try. The 34-year-old rushed out of the house, anxious yet hopeful, with a childish grin on his face. "Just be yourself," said Stewie Griffin, sitting on Callum's shoulder. "And try not to talk too much, please, don't talk too much." Callum acknowledged his thoughts as Stewie disappeared. The young lad made his way towards Ginger and cautiously approached. "Hey, I am Callum." Nothing else came from his mouth. Ginger, busy talking to God, was unaware that a fine male human was inches away from her under the willow tree. His voice pulled her from the sounds of nature as her ears focused on him, his voice repeating in her head. "Hi Callum, can you give me a second? I am talking to God." "Ah, my apologies, love." He stepped aside and made himself comfortable on one of the tree roots. "I am sorry, God. Thank you for all you continue to do for us in your universe. Lead me to where you need me to be. Amen." Ginger got up and inched over to lean on the tree. After introducing herself, they shook hands and the questions began. "Why are you here?" she asked. Direct but gentle, Ginger was protective of her space. "I live over there," he pointed to his home. "Ah, I have been watching you every Sunday evening for the last 12 Sundays. I am not a creep, I just felt compelled to meet you and I wanted to get to know you. You don't seem to be from here, your accent is slightly different." "I have Jamaican roots," she responded. "Jamaican? Like Vibes Cartel Jamaican love?" He did the hand sign and showed her his Gaza tattoo. Ginger laughed so loud, so hearty. Callum couldn't help but laugh at himself too, sounding like a real fanboy and serial killer in one. A bond of friendship, tender as the air they breathed, took root, that day, under the willow tree.